You know, in life they say you regret certain decisions. There are many decisions one can regret. There could be the you missed out on. There could be the jobs you missed out on. Wait, I think this is the wrong kind of video. We're supposed to be talking about cars. I'm sorry. Here we are at Exotic Car Hacks talking about my top car regrets. Sorry, I got confused. I thought this was a different video. Since I have started owning exotic cars, I think. All right, guys, welcome back to Exotic Car Hacks, and today we are talking about my biggest regrets selling some of the exotic cars I've owned over the last few years. So since I've been in my early 20s, I've owned exotic cars, you know, starting with a very basic 996 turbo and then moving all my way up today to a $30 million car collection. So you could actually imagine that I've owned quite a bunch of cars to get to the point I am in today. Actually, over the last 70 years, over 200 cars have been personally bought, registered, and then some sold, some not, to get to where we are today. So one of the questions that you guys have asked me so many times, because I talk on the channel a lot about buying the right cars, making sure you can drive them, collect them, and at some point, loving money more than we love cars. So saying goodbye and officially making your cash while having enjoyed some great experiences together. You have to think about it as like an incredible hook you're just never going to marry. Like, it's just not gonna happen. No matter how hot she is and what she does to you, and you know what I'm talking about, it's just not worth taking home to your mom. So there have been specific cars in my life that just have become literally regrets, because over the years, I have never been able to top them. And so today we're gonna talk about those, and we're gonna start with a car that was very, very popular on the channel, actually incredibly popular, probably the most popular car I've ever owned, because every single time someone posted a picture of it anywhere, someone tagged me on Instagram and it got around like a really bad hoe on a Tuesday. And that car was my Ferrari Pista. So if you remember the Pista, the baby blue Pista was a very, very unique car. So this car was originally purchased back in the day in like I think it was 2018, 2019, when I bought it for like 430K. I ended up selling it for 530K and felt like a fucking hero at the time, made 100K, was excited. Then I bought it back at 500 and I was like, I'm never selling it again. And bam, immediately 5 minutes later, someone offered me 680K, so the car was gone, and I had made well over now, you know, the full 100 and then another 100. So like, it was crazy, right? 300K later, I was like, I almost made the price of the car on the car in less than 12-month period. So I was happy making that money and saying goodbye. Now, obviously, looking back now, you would think, well, wait a minute, that's kind of a lot of money to make and say no to. And that's how I felt about it too, because today the Pista market is in the 700s. And this was back in 2020 when I sold this car. And I want you to understand this, in 2020, 2021, the Pista market was 500K. So getting 700K for a coupe at the time was insanity. And the fact that I nailed that proved again that specs matter, as I tried to teach you in the Exotic Car Hacks course, which if you don't know anything about, click the link in the description below and take the free training or join the course. But essentially, I really, really missed that Pista because it was probably the prettiest Ferrari I have ever set my eyes on, and one of the hottest cars of all time. Especially because I'm a big, big critic of the Ferrari brand and how all their product is junk, and yet the Pista was the only Ferrari I've ever liked. I since had another Pista that I absolutely love too, and I also sold but it just didn't hit the same, and that one will forever have a place in my heart. Now, I hear the new owner is someone who has actually sold and bought cars of mine before and sold me cars as well, so he has a very similar taste and excellent taste, and I hear that he would entertain $1 million offer today for the car. So if any of you guys are really hot for it, then go find it. It is still for sale at the right price. It was high then though, so don't feel bad. I don't think $1 million is that off of where that car should be anyways, being how unique and special it really was. It had all the perfect options, etc. Now, my second car that I want to say I regret selling, but ultimately I've had many chances to buy back and I just chose to sell again. And I'm gonna tell you what that was, because it's very popular on the channel again, and it's my Nero Nemesis SVJ Roadster with full on Alcantara orange interior from the factory. So this was a very high spec SVJ Roadster with all carbon options, an incredible matte paint, painted logos, and a full Alcantara ad personam interior that just was unmatched. This car was unbelievable, and I held it for 3 full years before eventually getting rid of it and making a healthy 200K profit. Now, getting rid of this car, I have bought it back 4 times since it has left and has been sold again in minutes, again and again and again. Now, part of the reason that it keeps coming back and leaving is because obviously people want to trade their cars, and the local dealers that are taking these cars on trade know obviously that it was my car, so they call me back and offer me to buy it, and I usually buy it back because, you know, dealers trade very low, so it makes sense to buy it back financially. But part of the reason I haven't kept that car, even though it keeps coming back, is partially not really a monetary reason, but primarily because it's getting hoarded out. I mean, you got to think about it this way. When a car exchanges hands like 6, 7 times, you got to start asking yourself, would you want to bang out your wife after you found out she was getting banged out by 6 black guys, you know, back to back every 3 months? Probably not. You'd think of that and be like, I didn't really sign up for this. You know, like I was signing up to be a good person, and then this happened, and next thing you know, you're on OF and you don't know what happened, and you know, you're going down the spiral, so you just don't want to do it. So this was kind of how I feel about this car. Quite unique, quite exciting, but just didn't really hold a place in my heart outside of the car itself being stunning. There was just a spiritual disconnect with the car and how hoarded out it had gotten over the years. And then the last car that I think, I don't know that I'd say I shouldn't have sold, because clearly there's a lot of opportunity to kind of buy them back. But one of the cars that I kind of regret just letting go because it was really pretty, it was just really clean and exciting, was actually my first, or I should say my second Senna, and this was my Vermillion Red Senna. And I bought my Vermillion Red Senna brand new. It was spectacular, and I really enjoyed it. And you know, the thing is with the Senna market is recently popped, so it's now like well over MSRP. It used to be under MSRP. It used to be crazy if you spend more than 200K under MSRP on a Senna, which is insanity, right? Today, people would kill to have a Senna for 200K under MSRP. But back then, you know, buying a Senna in the 900K range was a pretty exciting and normal thing to do. And the Vermillion Red was a one-of-one car. I thought it was really unique. I thought it worked really well. I liked it even more than my carbon exposed car, my first carbon exposed car that I got. And it wasn't until recently that I topped it. That's why I said it wasn't really a regret, because there's always something better that comes. And the way I look at cars is, if you love money more, the next one will probably not be as good, but eventually you'll find a replacement that's significantly better than the one before. So those are my 3, I would say, regrets, where if I had a chance to do it all over again, I would probably keep it. Now I'm gonna take you in my garage real quick and show you a couple of cars that I'm unlikely to ever sell, and why I'm gonna be keeping them probably forever, if not for a very, very long time. Ready? Let's go. Let's make our way into the Exotic Car Hacks garage. Now, this is pretty exciting because, you know, this garage has evolved a lot over the years, and I wanna show you some of this stuff because I think, again, we don't talk enough about this. So come over now. Some of these, again, are financial decisions. Some others are mainly just because you can't replace it. Now, I told you earlier that I really, you know, don't miss the Senna per se, and part of the reason is because this is here now. Now, if this isn't the craziest, wildest Senna you've ever seen in your life, I don't know what is. This has a $1.5 million sticker. This is the only one ever built. This is full exposed carbon in monochromatic paint. Now, this isn't a joke. This car is actually full exposed carbon fiber, as you can see, but the carbon has been tinted with the color changing monochromatic paint, 5 different paint colors put together. It looks absolutely ridiculous of how hot it is. And I don't think if I sell this, I'll ever buy another Senna, because I don't think you can replace, I don't think you can top this. And the argument is, if you sell it, you gotta top it. And I don't think anything will ever top this with the word Senna in it. So this is as good as it gets, in my opinion, for the Senna. Absolutely breathtaking of a spec, hotter than anything I've ever seen in my life when it comes to the word Senna. So amazing, amazing car, unlikely to go anywhere. Another car that I think really shouldn't be going anywhere. I genuinely don't think this should be going anywhere. Unfortunately, as much as I adore this car and the spec on this car, which I don't think I'll ever top or duplicate, The issue with this car is that obviously Aston Martins depreciate, so there's only so long you can hack them. We'll see what the future holds, but for now, this is most likely going to go at some point in the future in the next year or so. But this is also irreplaceable as in terms of spec. Now this car, I've said multiple times on the channel why it's my absolute favorite car, and the main reason again being that usually when you see Rolls-Royce Phantoms, you see old men kind of specs, you know, black on black, black on red, even normal stuff. So this is a Tempest Gray bespoke paint color with the full Mandarin orange interior from the factory. It's been fitted with a full Mansory kit, Novitec wheels, forged carbon kit, and it has every possible option, including the curtain. I have tried to replace this car for the last maybe like 2.5 years because Rolls-Royce is depreciated, and most people know that. So I've tried to basically replace this car by buying like a newer one or making some money and then switching in another car. And yet I cannot ever match the specification of this car. And I love it so much that I always say, what's the point of being rich if it's not to actually get the things you really love? And I really love this car. So it's more of an emotional decision than anything else. And I don't think I'd ever want to part ways with it unless the money was so good that I could just order another one and basically let the profit go away. But then the cost of the basis is just, would you have a better car, but then I'll be a year without it? I don't know. Like, I really adore this car. I really don't want it to go anywhere. So these are the cars that I don't think I'd ever be able to part ways with because I just think they're just so different, so unique and exciting. And I know I'm gonna regret selling them as soon as I do. So for now, they'll remain part of the Exotic Car Hacks collection. So there you have it, 3 cars that I absolutely should have never sold, and 3 cars that I probably will regret selling at some point in the future, because as we say in Exotic Car Hacks, you have to love money more than you love cars. So I'll catch you next time for Exotic Car Hacks. Take care.